All right, perfect. Hello and welcome to CampusGuard CG Central 2.0 Demo Day. My name is Kathy Staples, and I'm the marketing manager here at CampusGuard. Tess Mayer, CampusGuard marketing specialist, is also here to monitor any questions you're submitting. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's demo will be recorded, and all registered attendees will receive an email with a link to the recording, so look up for that in the next day or two. If you have any questions, please enter them in the chat. We will have time for Q&A after the demo. We would also like to know your thoughts about today's content, so please take a couple of minutes after the demo to complete a brief survey and give us your feedback. Today, we'll be providing a live demo of our newly updated CampusGuard Central 2.0 Compliance Management Portal, including an overview of the application and its features and benefits before we dive into the live demo. So let's introduce today's presenter. Judy Siege is CampusGuard's Director of Operations, who has over 30 years of experience working in fields such as information security and compliance, relationship management, project management, and more in higher education, government, and healthcare. Judy has overarching responsibility for the development team that built CampusGuard Central into the dynamic application used by our customers to manage their PCI compliance program. And with that, I'll turn it over to Judy.
Thanks so much, Kathy. Good afternoon, everyone. And again, thank you for taking the time to join us. I wanted to run through the agenda that we'll go through today. We're first going to talk about what is CampusGuard Central from a very high level. I'm going to review some of the features and benefits that we hope you find of value in the compliance portal, and then actually go into the live demo. As Kathy said, we have allocated time at the end for Q&A, but don't hesitate to send a chat to Tess and Kathy, and they will make sure to queue your questions up as we get to that point. So what is CampusGuard Central? Central is our compliance management portal that Kathy said that we make available to our customers for their PCI compliance program. It's been specifically designed with you in mind. Our customers who have complex organizations like colleges and universities, healthcare organizations, or city and state governments, where you have merchants spread across multiple campuses or locations. Central helps you manage your compliance program by providing you with the tools you need to quickly view what's happening across your enterprise. So let's talk quickly about features. First of all, we can support 4 levels of user access. There is an enterprise level, like a city or a university system, a customer, which would be an individual college or hospital, and then the departments within that customer, and of course, multiple merchant level users associated directly with one or more area where you're accepting payment cards. Are you still maintaining your merchant inventory on a spreadsheet? Well, you don't have to do that anymore with Central. Using this application, you can document and maintain all of the critical data within this application. And as an added bonus, the merchant inventory report that we've developed is dynamic. So you only print out the data fields that you have filled in. So if you don't want to track the PTS expiration date in the system, it won't show up in your report. Our application has built-in reminders to encourage the timely SAQ completion, as well as past due notifications for those stragglers, and then the option for your administrators to be included on any or all of those as you choose. Are you tired of tracking your not applicable responses so you can fill out that Appendix C? Worried about doing the same for the not tested responses in 4.0 SAQD? Well, not with this application. We've automated those for you. Next, Central provides a secure storage area, what we call our document locker, where each user has permission-based access so that only those users who've been granted that access can see those files within that location. Lastly, CampusGuard Central allows administrators to create a single SAQ based on the roll-up or summarization of multiple SAQs. So no more manually filling out that monster SAQD just so you can submit one SAQ to your acquirer. We've automated that for you as well. So in regards to benefits, I've already covered some of the features that I know will be beneficial for our customers, but let's talk about a few others. We have a detailed dashboard at all levels so that the users can quickly see kind of what's happening and the status of items that are important to them in their environment. On the initial setup, our CampusGuard team will configure your site and then deploy it for your use, but your team then has full access to add or edit users and merchants as necessary so that there's no delay in getting them started on the platform. Our pages of data can be exported and all of the reports can be printed or downloaded. And in addition to those static report options, we've configured the inventory report to include 5 customizable fields so that you can include data elements that are important to you and your compliance program. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that CampusGuard Central is supported by our internal experts. So any of the help requests that come in from you or your staff have that guidance provided by our QSA or PCIP team members. So how about a quick peek at some of the pages I'm going to show you in the demo. This is what we call the customer level dashboard. Remember, we've got those 4 levels. So this would be an individual campus, perhaps an individual hospital. And this is what that customer dashboard looks like. Here you can see the administrator will have overarching view of all of their merchants, the assigned SAQs with them, the completion status, PCI compliance status, based on the data that is in the SAQ at that exact moment. When the administrator drills down or the individual merchant logs in, this is the detailed screen that they will see. And this is where they will be working from as they're completing their SAQ, uploading relevant documents, filling out, their requests for quarterly scans, those kinds of things. So bear with me for a minute. I'm going to switch you over to the live demo.
If you have any questions that you have, go ahead and submit them in the chat. We'll make sure to get to them as much as possible after the demo.
Thanks, Kathy.
Sure.
All right. Now, for this demo, I know I told you we have the 4 different levels of access, but what I am going to be logging in as is at the customer level. So you can see some of those things that I had mentioned earlier. So for those of you that may be already familiar with CampusGuard Central, our previous version, you automatically see very quickly that there is a different look and feel. So let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing here. Over on the right side, we have our announcements. This is the area where our CampusGuard marketing team, Kathy and Tess, will be posting new articles, newsletter links, videos, conferences, webinars, all of those things so that you know where you can see and interact with the CampusGuard team or get some new information. In the middle, you've got a progress section, if you will, kind of the first of our 2 quick status sort of sections. You've got the summary completion percentage for all of the SAQs that are within your purview, and then beneath that, kind of a compliant, non-compliant sort of indicator with the non-compliant or no to the left and the yes compliant over to the right. And then just beneath that at the bottom, we list the number of SAQs that have been not started, are in progress, or those that have been completed, right? Over on the right side here, we've got your standard buttons that you should be familiar with from the previous version. And down here at the bottom, right now there's no action items for my demo user, but here's where you're going to start seeing some things as we continue to build out this application. Things that you will see in here would be upcoming or past due SAQ notifications, ASVs, scans that need to be rerun, any of those types of things that require your attention, and we'll want to make sure to be calling out to you. One of the new things that we've added are these drop downs up here on the top left side. Regardless of where you are within the application, at any point in time, you can use these to jump back to a very specific place. So let's take a look first at our library. Here we have posted all of the important information that your team may need. The templates associated with PCI compliance, GLBA, information security are all made available to you and your staff up at the top. And then all of these incredible newsletters and articles that our team have written over the years are available down here. These can be searched and allow you to quickly get a short list of anything that may be relevant to you that you might want to take a look at. Up on the top right of the library is where you will find an up-to-date user guide, so please feel free to download that. The knowledge base is a page that includes 2 sections, and I'm excited about this one. We did have this in the previous version, What our development team have done is imported all of that great guidance and support content that the council provides within the PCI DSS itself. And we've got it here and make it available to you as administrators at that top level to go in and take a look if you want to do some research, if you want to look up a different requirement, understand what they were thinking and where they were going. All of that is in here for you. The top part of the knowledge base is a listing of any questions that have come in through the help and showing both the resolved and the unresolved. And we'll talk a little bit about how that is made manifest within the SAQs themselves. The last thing I wanted to show you very quickly was the document locker. This, as an administrator top level view, is going to show you all of the uploaded documents across your organization. Individual authorized users can upload those documents to their specific area, but as an overarching administrator, you have that view, so you can go in and search to see if everybody's uploaded their documents, to see if anything is missing. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the SAQ. One last thing I did want to call out, we do have a recycle bin. If somebody inadvertently deletes a document that they did not intend to, don't panic. The recycle bin is there. Documents can be removed up to 30 days after they have been deleted. So I'm going to go back to my main landing page and let's get started within the dashboard. This is the place where we're going to start. Based on the authorization level of the user that clicks on that, they will see their tailored view. Again, I am logged in at the customer level. My pretend demo site is CampusGuard University in Phoenix. Yes, I am based out of Phoenix, and yes, it's very hot. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what you're seeing here. I have implemented the use of departments, layer number 3, enterprise customer department. For our larger organizations, this is a really helpful way to be able to segment your merchants. In this case, I have used departments, so common among our university and college customers, advancement, athletics, booster club, bookstore. For smaller customers or those that choose not to, you don't need to use those. It's an optional layer. You can also use other things that may be more relevant. If your organization chooses to use accounting group IDs, any of those sorts of things, think of it as a grouping level. It doesn't have to be a department. Let's talk a little bit about the colors that you're seeing here. Anything that is marked in red, it has a due date that has now come and gone. These SAQs are past due, therefore they are being called out for your attention. Those that are in yellow are those that are coming due. Those are due within the next 30 days. So may need a little tap on the shoulder to remind them they need to get things done. The progress bar here you can see is telling me how many requirements have been answered within that SAQ. So I can tell if the individual user has been working on their self-assessment questionnaire. Now, my sample has quite a few merchants. I do have the ability to go in and search. If I go in and I type in clinic, my results are going to show me everything within my medical clinic because it is able to find that tag at the department level or that grouping level. However, if I change this to office and I search for anything that has the label office in it, I'm just going to get my 3 specific merchants that have that name in there as part of that merchant. Now, I couldn't really go in here and search for the letter A if I wanted to see all my SAQAs, so we've added a little filter right here. This is going to allow me to just pick by a particular SAQ type. Obviously P2PE would have worked, but the A would be a lot harder. This way now, you can get just those SAQs that you're looking for. All right, I am going to reset that back and I'm going to get started with a 321 SAQ. Here you can see my booster club has an SAQ P2PE assigned. It is a 321 version of the PCI DSS that I have filled in completely so that you can see what that merchant dashboard looks like in action that I showed you the picture of. I'm going to click on the little chart to drill down. Over on the left side here, we have two options for maintaining the information about the merchant. The edit is where you and the merchant staff will have the ability to go in and start documenting all of those things that you're probably currently tracking on a spreadsheet, right? Who's their gateway and software provider? What equipment are they using? PTS expiration, all of those things that are on that standard merchant inventory. What you'll notice up here on the top are the manifestation of those custom fields that I mentioned. We've got our 3 individual fields for text fields, and we've got 2 what we call paragraph fields where you can include larger portions of data. The other button that's over on the left side is something that only the administrators will have access to. And this is where you can update those settings like the due date, the SAQ type, the expiration date, things that we wouldn't necessarily want the merchant users having access to, but you might need to make some changes to. Kind of going down my page and coming around, here is my document locker. This is my focused display of the document locker just for my booster club. Again, I can upload and access the recycle bin at any point in time. And we also have scanning available to our customers. The ability to request a scan is not only down at the merchant level, but also at the user level. So if you have a technical contact and a business contact affiliated with an individual merchant, your technical contact can see that button, but your business contact it can be hidden from. So you have some flexibility there in how you configure the site. Coming up and around on the top right, we do list out any authorized users, those at the merchant's level who are specifically and explicitly linked to this particular merchant, and those that have overarching at the department level who have access for that as well. The thought on this one is for our customers and prospects that are larger organizations, where maybe you're not necessarily going to remember who's responsible for the Booster Club, but by going in here, you can quickly have access to an email address or phone number to contact that merchant user. Here is your SAQ. You can see that as a 321 SAQ, I have all of my standard yes, no, not applicable responses. So let's get into what that looks like. As I go into the SAQ, you'll see that on the top right, we tell them how many requirements they can expect to be filling out, and then we show them their progress both as a bar and as a numeric. Now, the layout and the presentation of the SAQ and AOC information is in alignment with the way the PCI Council delivers it. I like to call it the Oreo cookie because you've got parts 1 and 2 of the AOC, you've got all of the requirements in the appendices of the SAQ, and then you've got parts 3 and 4. So it's a very logical flow, just like what we get from the council. On the left side here, we've got some navigation. So we can quickly hop around as we go from one place to the next. Now, at the bottom of every page, we do have a save and next. And during that orientation session with you and your staff, we do always stress that going to the bottom and doing the save and next on their first access in and completion of that SAQ is generally best. But perhaps they filled a few things out and now they're coming back to do a quick review. They can quickly hop around. You may have noticed requirement 9 was here when I clicked on it, but this is a dynamic navigation section that will adjust. Now I'm on requirement 9, therefore I'm not going to jump to it, so it has been cleared from here. We do have, as I said, the yes, no, not applicable compensating controls, and similarly for 4.0, those delivered options as a response, but we have included what we call the CampusGuard don't know. The reason is that we recognize your merchant staff have allocated some time, perhaps a Tuesday afternoon, they're going to sit down and fill out that SAQ that you've asked them to fill out. And they get to a particular question and they go, I don't know, right? I don't know if that policy got ratified. I don't know if we've got the logs for all of the training. I don't know how to respond to this question. By tagging it as don't know, it allows them to allocate an answer to that and keep moving, therefore being efficient with their time. And then once they get to the end, they can go back to that main screen, use the little pie chart, click on the don't know, and now they've got that list of, hey, here are the 3 where you said don't know that you need to follow up on. All right, a little bit of an efficiency there. The other thing you can see is we've got space for comments. We have customers using this in very different ways. Could be, again, going back to my example of a technical and a business contact. If I'm the business contact and one of these is a technical question that I'm just not sure about, maybe I leave a breadcrumb for my colleague to say, hey, can you take a look at this one? Is this correct? Should it be a yes or not applicable? And these can be there to help them with the process, but don't show up in the completed SAQ. You can see it's an optional field. I've chosen not to use it because of my don't know. This does change when I change my response to not applicable. When I do put in not applicable, now my comments are required. I do need to make sure that those get answered. So you're going to put in the appropriate response and then make sure that that gets saved. The reason for this is so that we can do that automation at the end, that summary for that Appendix C. I'll show you that in a minute. A couple more things you may have picked up on while we're on this screen. There are two little colored icons here. My green up arrow allows me to upload a document into the document locker. By uploading it within the SAQ itself and not necessarily outside and in the document locker, the application will tag it and associate it to that SAQ requirement number. This can be helpful to you guys as administrators because it will allow you then to go in and search for, 12.6 for all the training logs or 9.9, all the tamper checking logs using my old 321 because I haven't memorized 4.0 yet. The other one is that help icon that I had talked about. So when we click on the little red arrow, what you will see is not only the requirement against which the user may have had a question, we've got space for them to ask their question, but this is where that knowledge base and that imported guidance from the council comes into play. Because now I, as a user, think I have a question about securing media physically, but here I've got some great input from the council. Perhaps this can answer my question, thereby saving me the time to ask somebody to review it and respond, and I can keep going with my progress. All right. So as I scroll through, I'm going to save to move on to the next page to make sure that my Appendix C not applicable responses get saved. And then I'm going to show you how that the Appendix C works. Part 3 includes a non-compliant and compliant calculation for you. So at any point in time, based on how the responses have been tabulated, the SAQ itself will automatically be tagged as compliant or non-compliant. I'll show you that in just a minute. So we get to Appendix C. We don't have anything filled in. I don't want to have to go back and figure out and remember what I did. I'm going to click on my populate, and there you go. Everywhere that I've put a response of not applicable is automatically being added in for me. I can save and next and move right along. Part 3 with regard to the compliant and non-compliant does a bit of a tabulation. I have some no responses. You may remember that from the pie chart in the beginning. And any don't knows will also flag the SAQ as non-compliant because those are placeholders and it is considered not complete. All right. I can go back to my merchant dashboard if there's any other activities I want to do for the booster club, but I'm actually going to jump back to my customer page because now I want to show you a version 4.0 SAQ. My summer swimming camp is an SAQ-A for 4.0. The look and feel of the landing page is identical, but here you will see now you've got your not in place, not answered in place, just like you would see on the SAQ. When I go in to edit, again, very familiar look and feel. You've got the navigation on the left side, total number of requirements up at the top. If you have had an opportunity to take a look at the SAQs under PCI 4.0, you may have had a similar reaction to requirement and section part 2G, where it's asking you for the responses in the requirements that you haven't yet gotten to. I will tell you that this is on the development agenda. We will be automating this just as we did with Appendix C and Appendix D in the SAQ 4.0 for D. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I want to show you in requirement 3. The new look and feel. Couple of things that we've done with 4.0. Of course, we've got the in place, compensating controls, all of that. Your buttons and your icons for help and upload are still there. Your don't knows are also still there. For those requirements where there is some lack of applicability until some future date, most of them I believe are March of 2025, we have included that text in there in bright red to call that out for you to help you address that. All right. The last thing I wanted to show you while we're here is what the actual finalize will look like. Now, on this SAQ for the demo, I have gone in and answered all of my questions. So I get a new option. The application is telling me, congratulations, great job, your SAQ has been completed. You now have a few options. You can go back to your merchant dashboard, right? Here's my link to the dashboard. I can go back in, I have full access via the navigation to my SAQ. I can print out a draft to see how does my SAQ look? What do the responses look like? Or I can complete that SAQ. Now I'm not going to complete this because this is my demo site, and I do like to use this again and again. But what will happen when they complete that is that the SAQ itself will be finalized. It will now be put into a locked status. Those were those little locks you were seeing on that customer dashboard. My edit is no longer available to me, and my completed SAQ is posted into my document locker. The cool thing is we have, of course, taken the data from the database, done that mail merge into the forms as delivered from the PCI Council. So you will end up with a nice clean document in the format that perhaps your acquirer, your bank, anybody who wants to take a look and see, with all of the fields filled in, the check boxes, et cetera, based on the information that has been added. This can be downloaded. You can have your executive sign off on it, whatever that may be. The other thing you will notice once the SAQ has been finalized for that year is you will have 2 new buttons over here on the left side. The first one, this Create AOC, allows you to strip out those 4 parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, from the beginning and the end, and create just that separate AOC document. We do have the honor of working with a number of customers who are also software vendors who need to provide those AOCs, that proof of compliance, to their customers. And this is a way for them to fill out all the information they need to have that proof of compliance, and then also have that nice clean document that they can then provide to their customers. The other button over here is the new SAQ. This button is available both at the individual merchant level and also at the administrator level, where you can create the next year's SAQ. Now, we know different organizations have different ways of handling things, so we do allow you to have 2 flavors of this. Obviously, there's the one, create the new SAQ. At the merchant level, if I'm an SAQA and I push my button, I'm going to get a new SAQA. If I'm a B, I'm going to get a B. Administrators can change that using the update SAQ, but at the merchant level, they will create their own same one. The copy down here copies over the data. So for our existing customers who have been with us for some time and have completed 321 and still are within that window where they're going to complete 321 one more time, they can use this copy feature, and all of the responses to the SAQ requirements will automatically be populated from their 2022 to their 2023 or potentially early 24 SAQs 3.2.1. If a merchant is going from 3.2.1 to 4.0, the copy will create the SAQ for them, but as you all well know, there was way too much change, the numbering changed, a lot of those things. So even though they may pick copy, they will get a clean and blank SAQ 4.0 with none of the answers filled in. So you probably noticed at the top of my customer dashboard, there are a number of buttons that we have there. So I'm going to go back to that customer page so I can talk you through some of those buttons. The customer settings is where you will have access and the opportunity to make some changes in configuration settings that you would like for your deployment. Here, since we just talked about it, is that ability to do the copy. First of all, do you even want to turn that on? If not, we don't even have to allow that to be an option. If you do turn it on, do you want individual users to be able to do theirs? Just administrators, or just those folks at the top level can do that? Over here on the right side, we do send out a standard welcome email to any users that get added, but we do give you the opportunity to tailor that. If you would like to be able to add in some additional text, guidance, notes, whatever it is you would like, you can do that. Here's our SAQ reminders and past due notifications if you choose to take advantage of those. Down here are your custom fields for doing that merchant inventory. If you don't include a field name, then those won't appear. Okay. Going back to my buttons, we do have 3 of them that are there for adding and editing. Those would be your new merchant, users, and departments. As I mentioned, the initial deployment, we will give you a spreadsheet. We will ask you to fill that out with your merchants, your users, your mids, all of those sorts of things. We will do the initial configuration and setup, but then once the site is deployed, you can add new users, add new merchants, rename departments, add new departments, whatever you need to do. All right. The new SAQs button, this is the one that we had just talked about, that administrators would be able to do that high level. Here, I'm going to reset everybody within athletics, or I'm going to reset everybody across my organization. Now, we do have scans down here, which is where you can then see the scanning status across your organization, any that have been requested for the different areas, what their status is, and all of those things. And then down here at the bottom is a quick access for you if you want to be able to make any of those requests. Okay. One of the other buttons, of course, is for your reports. We do have a number of static reports here that are available to you. The merchant inventory, of course, I have already spoken about. This one is that dynamic report that's only going to show those fields that have been filled in. So if you choose not to track some fields, you won't have those. If you include custom fields, they will be included once they're filled in. If you don't use them, you won't see that information. The other thing that I think is really a big benefit that our customers appreciate, and I sort of touched on earlier, is that roll-up feature, right? A lot of you are large organizations, and perhaps you have one or more acquirers that really just want that one summary SAQ. They don't need to see 50 different ones. Well, this roll-up feature is going to allow you to pick and choose and use that however you would like to. You can see that I can say, hey, advancement in athletics, both, maybe have Elitbon as their acquirer, but, my bookstore does somebody different, or gosh, everybody all reports up through First Data, whatever you need there. You pick and choose who you want. You can also summarize, obviously, by those different types. We do have some customers that say, I'm going to bundle all my A's together, all my P's together, however you would like to do it. This front end is going to give you that flexibility to do that. Down here on the right side, we do have some indicators that are going to help you to know about the quality of the data that you're about to pull into that roll-up. Here, my athletic housing example doesn't have any sort of an icon. That indicates to me that that SAQ is not yet complete. If you include that into your roll-up, you may be missing a response that could impact the outcome of that summary. My athletic camps and my booster club are both filled in. So I've got my check mark. They are 100% filled out, but they haven't been finalized yet. But my athletic ticketing, as you know, has been finalized. So I've got my lock, right? So at any point now, you will know what you're including and all of that. Now, I'm not going to show you this real quick because right now It does take a few minutes to run, and I don't have 60 to 90 seconds of talking for you, so I'm just going to show you what happens. Behind the scenes, once you make that choice and you pick and choose who you want to include, the application is going to go through and it's going to do that requirement by requirement validation. A yes plus a yes plus a yes is a yes, yes plus a yes plus an A is still a yes, right? Anything with a no automatically is a no. So it's going to do that tabulation on every single one of the requirements. And what will happen then is you will get an SAQ underneath this roll-up SAQs grouping or department subheading. The neat thing is all of the information has been tabulated for you. The responses are all filled in. And oh yeah, we've filled in all of those ones that have now shown up in the D because you've done a roll-up, even if it didn't exist in any of the ones that were underneath it. You now have the document locker access. You've now got anything that you need to do to manage that SAQ. So all of that information is going to be there for you. All right. Then year over year, you've got that SAQ. You can finalize it, print it out as a PDF, get it signed off, and get it submitted. All right. Again, at any point in time, your drop downs here will provide you with that access to any of those different areas. Quite honestly, it's a bit of a shortcut or a quick way for you to get to other sections of the application. All right, I'm just going to jump back home and pause my sharing and go back. All right. At this time, I would like to now open it up for questions. Kathy and Tess, if you guys are ready, I am available for questions from our attendees.
Awesome. Thank you, Judy. I have a handful of questions right now. As we go on, if you guys have any other questions or if you would like additional information, please just use that Q&A section. The first question we have is from Michael. Actually, I'll have you answer Andrew's first. Okay. Will all of our documents from previous iterations be moved over to this new CG Central document locker?
Great question. All of our customers have been migrated over. The document locker was the last part of that migration, but that was wrapped up, I believe, about a week after we completed the application launch. So yes, all documents should be over there for all of our existing customers.
Okay, so then Michael's question was, is there a timeline for when we should see all of the files fully transferred? So it sounds like that should already be done, Michael, and we can reach out to you directly if you're still seeing things that aren't in there.
Yeah, please reach out to your CampusGuard relationship manager, your CRM. They will work with our product lead to make sure that everything is there and ensure that you're seeing what you should be seeing.
Awesome. So Lee asks, are all fields and text boxes searchable?
Yes, that is true. That's why the medical clinic was able to be pulled because of the affiliation with that department across all of the individual merchants.
Awesome. Henry asks, when going from 3.2.1 to 4.0, will the part 1 information be carried forward or will all fields be blank?
Great question. All fields will be blank. At this time, the copy does not work as a copy. It's creating a new one for you.
Perfect. Could you go over the option of changing merchant user for 4 people at once? I missed that portion of the demo.
Say that one more time. Changing the merchants for 4 users simultaneously?
Changing merchant user for 4 people at once.
There is not currently an ability to change multiple people at the same time. There is the ability to assign a single person to multiple merchants at the same time.
We have a great question from Chris. Noticing GLBA besides services, is there a GLBA portal?
Great question. So that is absolutely why we have called this platform Central. We have a long development plan for this platform to be our central location for all of our compliance and information security services. We started out with PCI, moving from just 321 to 4.0 and being able to support both in a single platform was our big development. And now, once we are past that, the next big thing is to be able to start including some of those other compliance standards that we do support our customers with.
Awesome. How is required training supported by the portal?
So if I'm understanding the question, PCI requires that training occur. CampusGuard does have an online training solution that is available both via our platform or for SCORM files. And the link right now to the online training is a bit of a handoff. We do have future integration plans for the ability to have the two going back and forth, and then enabling that synchronization between the two so that the status of the completion of the online training is also being displayed on that action items and status pages within Central.
Great. Christy asks, is there a way to archive previous year's documents?
Great question. So the documents are actually affiliated with the merchant. And when you move from one year to the next year, that SAQ and information can go into the archive. It's all back there under the inactive status and available to you for historical purposes, but you do get a new and fresh, clean area to begin working.
Great. Rebecca asks, if we do a roll-up of all MID/SAQ types to one final SAQD, how are the answers determined considering the variation from each merchant if some answer yes and others answer not applicable? How does the roll-up choose the answers or display them? Would the variation per requirement be shown?
So what happens is actually on the page where you go in after you click the initial submit, there's several sections to it. And at the very top, you will get a spreadsheet that you can download, and it will include every single requirement and every single merchant that's been included. So you can always go in and look to see who answered what. In working with our QSAs, we did create an algorithm that goes through. A not applicable would be sub to a yes. So yes, 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 and not applicable would be a yes. No will trump everything. So that algorithm is what's running behind the scenes and determining what the final response would be. Anything where the requirement shows up now because it wasn't in any of the sub ones will automatically be filled as a not applicable, and a notice going in saying that this was not applicable because it wasn't present in any of the other ones. Hopefully that will answer the question.
Okay, and this last question that I have here is actually a bunch of different questions, so I'll just ask you them one at a time, Judy.
Okay.
Can you see which specific SAQ a document in the locker is associated with?
If it is tagged to that SAQ and uploaded as part of that, then yes, that information will be in the display.
Can you associate a document with more than one SAQ?
Not currently. Great question.
Is there an easy way for 321 users to see a 4.0 questionnaire?
Sure, several options. We can set up a kind of a summary merchant that is then made available to everyone. For example, we do have a customer that we work with that has a central merchant that they use for housing all of their policy and procedure templates and timeline documentation and other things. And then all users are given access to that. So that might be a great way to do that. The PDFs themselves are downloadable from the PCI Council. We could also set up perhaps a demo merchant with that SAQ type, and again, give everyone access to that and allow them to go in and play with that.
And then the last question, can we change the version of SAQ from 321 to 4.0 on the fly?
Absolutely. But the system will warn you when you do that, changing from version 321 to 4.0 or changing SAQ type midstream can be done, but the application will warn you that it will start out with a fresh, clean, blank SAQ as your new SAQ.
Okay, and that's all we have for questions.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again very
Great.
much. Sorry, go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, I was just going to say thanks everyone for joining today's free demo. We hope you found it to be informative and valuable. And as a reminder, you'll receive the link to this recording in an email that I'll send out over the next couple of days. Also wanted to remind you real quick, the survey will launch immediately after you exit the webinar. So please take a few minutes and tell us what you thought about today's demo. Thanks again and enjoy the rest of your day. You got about 10, 12 minutes back in your day. Thanks, everyone.